Hello everyone, it's Max here again, and you're watching the MS Workshop channel. Today we have a reference knife, which we'll be testing with different types of sharpening. Most likely today I'll do a rope cutting test at a 12-degree angle, and we'll see how many cuts it can make. If you remember, this is the same old reference knife of ours. It's 50 chrome, 15 vanadium, something like that. The simplest and most accessible steel. Some IKEA knives are made from the same steel, and some Wüsthof knives are made from the same steel. In other words, it's the most basic accessible stainless steel with a carbon content of 0.5%. More precisely. And I want to test different types of sharpening. That's 12 degrees, 15 degrees, 18 degrees, and 20 to 22 degrees. With a micro-bevel, without a micro-bevel, and with different finishes. Last time our first test was at 22.5 degrees, sharpened per side with a 120 grit stone. There were 50 cuts. With a micro-bevel at 400 VPa, it was sharpened at 20 degrees, and the micro-bevel at 22 was finished on 400. According to VPa, we made 75 cuts, cutting a 1-inch rope, jute rope, and we'll see how many cuts we get with a 12-degree sharpening without a micro-bevel. Then I'll do it with a micro-bevel, and in each following video, you'll see different results. We'll see how this goes, and then we'll do more testing. We'll try other steels and see what comes of it. Is there really a point to thin finishes, or rather not thin finishes, but thin, that is, sharp angles? The sharper the angle, the better the cut will be, but how much will edge retention suffer? So the test is finished. To be completely honest, I am extremely surprised. One could even say I am quite shocked, because as you can clearly see here, the edge of this piece is actually a bit damaged and worn down. But 130 cuts is a significant improvement, especially considering that the first tests probably weren't very accurate. Probably, yes, so that's why I'm going to go over all the corners now. The next test will be at the same angle, 12 degrees per side and a 120 grit finish, but this time there will also be a micro-bevel. The main bevel will be finished at 400 grit according to FEPA standards, with a 2-degree change. So if it's 12 degrees, then it will be 14, maybe 14.5, something like that. Then we'll try cutting with the micro-bevel and see how well it holds up. Because the edge basically got pretty badly damaged, some parts got bent, some chipped, since it's very thin. I'll do microscopy and show a separate video at the end of this clip. But as you can see, the result I would say is outstanding, because the steel itself is, in my opinion, extremely simple. If you know about steels and like knives, then you understand that 50 CR is an entry-level steel. That's why I'm really surprised by the result. Let's see what the next tests show. Next, the angles, the presence of a micro-bevel, and we'll see. I'll probably also add a much more refined and detailed finish to see if there are any noticeable differences in the finishes and the angles. We'll also be conducting a series of very similar and comprehensive tests on various other knives, but with this particular one, since it's very easy to work with and, let's say, extremely cheap to acquire, such experiments are more or less feasible for us to perform. As a matter of fact, I look forward to seeing you all again in the upcoming video segments very soon. Microscopy is coming up now.